Everybody say, ah. Say, how can I express my gratitude for all the many things you've done for me? Words are not enough, to say thank you. Say, Lord, you are my everything. You're my everything. How can I express my gratitude? How can I express my gratitude for all the many things, Father, you done for me, yeah. Words are not enough to say thank you. Say, Lord, you are, you're my everything. Say, I call you Jireh. Lord, my provider. I call you Nisi. You are my battle. I call you Rapha. Hey. You are my healer. Say, Lord, you are. You're my everything. I call you Jireh. Lord, my provider. I call you Nisi. You are my battle. I call you Rapha. You are my healer. Say, Lord, you are. You're my everything. Oh, you're my thing now. Oh, you're my thing
A lovely good afternoon to all of you. It's a Saturday afternoon once again, the very last but one also Saturday for the month of September 2023. My name is Uriku Sufrimpon and I'm live with you on BWTV and live on BWF Solicitors social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and the rest of it. Twitter now, they say they call it X. We are live on that as well. We are going to have a very interesting discussion this afternoon, and it bothers on what you cherish most. One of the things you cherish most when it is that you become a husband, wife, or a couple, I should say. Surrogacy. How do we go about it? What are the implications? What are things happening about surrogacy here in the UK and back home in Ghana and in other jurisdictions as well? We shall be looking at that. Then one institution that I call the Friday institution. Friday institution because in biblical sense, on the sixth day when God found that man was not to be left alone, he needed a partner. He created the marriage institution. How many times can a person marry? Polygamy. Is it something you have really thought of? There is something about that we shall be looking at. And again, the Home Office has introduced increase in fees, which will be starting very soon. When is it starting? What are the rates? And why have they increased all that? All these coming up on the program, The Community and the Law, and it's brought to you by BWF Solicitors, our trusted partners when it comes to the law. BWF Solicitors, 214 to 218, Stockholm High Road, Seven Sisters, North London, N15 4NP. They are on the fourth floor of the other house. Call them on 0208 493 7340 or 077 127 61884. BWF Solicitors. Let's take their message and we'll be right back.
This is our world. Here we are in our community. There are the laws. There are the regulations. We have BWF Solicitors. BWF Solicitors, experts in all aspects of the law, family law, civil litigation, all immigration and nationality issues, representation in court, marriage and divorce. We pride ourselves to give you excellent legal services and follow through till we get you the right result and decisions. That is our mutual satisfaction. We have a team of excellent qualified solicitors and support team to help you every step of the way. Our senior partner, with over 30 years of unbroken service to the community, is a member of the Family Law Panel and has advised several lawyers and institutions in many legal matters. He is qualified to practice both in the UK and in Ghana. Come to us. Speak to us. Let us represent you. We are your trusted community partners when it comes to the law. Locate us on the 4th floor of the Anna House, 214 to 218 High Road at Seven Sisters in North London, N15 4NP. Nearest train station, Victoria Line, to Seven Sisters Station, exit number 2. We are open for all consultations from Monday to Friday, 9:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Weekends by appointment only. Call us now on 0208 493 7340 or 077 127 61884. BWF Solicitors, your trusted legal partner. Our private
Welcome back and thank you for joining us. We're live on BWTV and we live on the community and the law. This Saturday afternoon, I would want to actually say to you, thank you for having time to join us. I know you may have been enjoying your barbecues, your parties, visiting friends and family, but you have had time to stick with us. So Portia Sari, you are the first one I can see on the platform. Thank you very much. Tili Duma, thank you. Nanajimai, God bless you for sharing and coming on. So when you come on board, what I want you to do for me is to go into the comment section, announce yourself, then hit the notification button. Now, what that does is that when we put in any content, you will be notified. When we are live, you will be notified. And when it is that others would want to find out what we did when, you would have had a notification and you can point them to that direction. So please go down into the comment section, either on Facebook or YouTube, and click the notification button, like the page, share, and invite people to come join our discussion. Now, this afternoon, I said to you that we're going to look at surrogacy, immigration, and nationality law, the procedure, how to meet the UK surrogacy rules in bringing the young person or the child to the UK. Then again, we're also looking at the fees that the UK immigration or UK government, the Home Office, so to speak, has introduced. When is it starting? Why have they increased it? Normally we think of between February and April, but now it's coming later towards the end of the year. Why? What is happening? Then again, we'll also be looking at our nugget, which talks about marrying more than one person, polygamy. Is it allowed here in the UK? Is it practice where you come from? We shall be looking at that. But first of all, before we go into that, let me introduce my resource person and guest for this program. You know, we are riding in the back of BWF Solicitors, and the principal, the main partner, senior partner of BWF Solicitors, Mr. Bernardo Yusu, we call him Uncle Ben, is my guest and resource person this afternoon. Uncle Ben, good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon, Kweku.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. We should be saying thank you to you.
Oh, come on. for God and country, as I keep saying sometimes,
Yeah.
we do it for ourselves. And this program has helped so many people. And we're so excited when it is that we have you yourself come in to share knowledge. And what I've realized that maybe it wasn't so well planned like that, but when I realized there's a new development, you come in and make sure that you lead the discussion on that, and we're so grateful for that. There's one thing today I would want to find out. Why is it that Home Office is increasing fees right about this time?
Well, I mean, I think a couple of months ago, our Prime Minister did tell us that they were going to increase fees. They said they needed about 2 billion British pounds from us, and migrants, and also any person who wants to come and visit the UK. So this is the first rack of increases that they've announced. The most significant one that it's almost here as an immigration health surcharge, which is now, I think it's £624 for a year, which is likely to go to about £1,000. So those are the ones that are going to be increased as well. Um, by and large, it's basically to raise more money. We know that the intention is to raise enough money to give to healthcare workers, doctors, nurses who've asked for pay increase. And that's the way that the government feels that without increasing taxes, the best way to raise the extra income is for migrants.
Well, we have been paying, and I hope there's a way they will stop us from paying anything extra. But when is it starting? Is it before the year ends, or it's going to go into the new financial year when we hit 2024?
So the first rack of increases will start on the 4th of October, which is next week, I think. Well, not this coming week, the week
The
after.
week after, yeah.
And that will start. We're expecting that in October, the increase in the IHS will also start. So October is going to be a very busy day. I mean, there's a way around it. You either make your application now, or when the time is up, you apply for fee waiver. They're very significant increases, both for settlement application and for limited leave to remain 2.5 years. Those whose leave application has not gone up are those people who've already got 2.5. We know that the fee is about 1,044 thereabout. That will stay the same, but there is a significant increase for those who may be liable to immigration bail, and this will usually be people who are here illegally. And their fee rises from, I think, 1,044 to about 1,340 or 1,400. I'll check and give you a specific figure.
Right. Well, thank you for the prompting. But as Uncle Ben said, you either quickly put in your application before it starts, or when it does start, then you see if you can apply for a fee waiver. Any way around it that will help you, please do not hesitate. And I will ask you to consult and contact BWF Solicitors. I have given you the number. I'm going to repeat that. It's 0208 493 7340, 0208 493 7340, or 077 127 61884, 077 127 61884. BWF Solicitors. You can visit their offices on the 4th floor of the Anna House, Seven Sisters, on top of the Seven Sisters Tube Station. They work from Monday to Friday between 9:30 in the morning and 6 p.m. and weekends by appointments only. So take note of that, and I would say run before you are caught by the increase. But whatever it is, there's a way around it, as Uncle Ben has reassured us. The next thing we're looking at is the nugget that was put out earlier in the week. Now, what happens is that Monday before noon, you would see, those of you who are on the BWF Solicitors social media platforms, you see that something comes up, something to increase your wealth of knowledge, to make sure that you understand everything that the law is bringing across your way. And we're talking about marriage. This week, we brought to you polygamous marriage. What is that? It's not recognized under English law, okay? If neither of the parties is domiciled in England or Wales. However, not all polygamous marriages are void. Those validly celebrated in countries that permit polygamy, where neither party is domiciled in England, can be recognized as valid under English law. Polygamy or polygamous marriages is where one person can marry more than one person. My question is it just men marrying more than one woman, or women can also do that? Is there a term for that or whatever? Let's go to the expert for the explanation. So I'll first ask my question. Polygamous marriage, what is that, Uncle Ben?
So polygamous marriage, it's a man marrying more than one woman.
Okay.
I've watched videos on YouTube because I was doing a research to see whether there's a biblical foundation for multiple marriages. And I think there is in the Old Testament, because David had more than one wife, Solomon, Jonathan, all of them had more than one wife. I mean, our cultural nuances are that we can marry more than one. Okay. And that's why when you look at the customary marriage certificate, it will ask certain questions, but the man's is different and the woman's is different. So for the man, the question they ask is that any other existing marriage, and then for the woman they ask condition. And because the men are allowed to marry more than one, a woman who marries more than one in certain cultures in East Africa, Central Africa, there are cultures where women are allowed to marry more than one, and it's called polyandry. So if you did sociology at university, you understand that in anthropology, it's fed by certain incidents or factual nuances that inform some of these practices. And in Ghana, if you look at some of our case law going back to 1957, 58, 59, 60, even the judges at the time, most often high court judges, will say that a man marries more than one and have more children because he wants more hands in his farm work. And that is why people marry more than one. So in our culture, both culturally and by some religion, you can marry more than one, and that's what is called polygamy.
Is it recognized under English law?
It's recognized under English law if the marriage took place in a country where polygamy is recognized. There's a case law. There's a case that I have cited in support of our nugget, a case that I was involved in, and I came in to assist the court and the office of the official solicitor to resolve the issue of multiple marriages, because UK public policy is against multiple marriages, polygamy. And this was a case where I think the man had 6 wives and about 20-something children, and I was called upon to help the court. It's a precedent. I'm very happy that I was able to help the court. It's now the basic principle about multiple marriages and inheritance. This is the authority on it, and my name has been quoted in it as helping the court to resolve the issue.
Right.
So under English law, England and Wales, because we have 3 main countries in England. We have, in UK.
In the UK.
We have
England, Wales,
Scotland, and Northern Ireland. So it's actually 4.
4 actually,
4.
yes.
And you know, sometimes Northern Ireland, we don't really. So, and our laws are different. England and Wales usually go together, and laws in England is a mirror reflection of what is in Wales as well. There's a lot of case law which says that if the multiple marriage is contracted outside the UK, and that country recognizes it, then the UK will recognize it. But the UK only, for immigration purposes, only recognizes one marriage at a time. So you may have multiple wives, but you can only bring one person at a time. So let's say Kofi Antobam is married to Ramatu, Aishatu, and Mariama, Muslims. Sorry, no offense intended. They all live in Ghana. He's coming here, to settle. He can only bring one. And once
which one of the 4 would be?
Well, that's it. He will have to decide. He will have to decide which of the 4 he wants to bring. But once he brings one wife out of the 3 or the 4, he cannot bring the others. But although those marriages will still be recognized, but he can only bring one wife at a time.
So if it recognizes only one wife at a time, but the other country recognizes all 4 of them, if, touch wood, anything happens and the property is being distributed, how does the UK or the English law look at that?
Well, I mean, the case of official solicitor to the senior court, Yemo, it's a 2010 citation. I think it's a weekly law report. I've forgotten what the page is, but it's there. And the second case is a 2021 citation, which is a marriage in Pakistan, and that was a claimant for welfare benefit. Again, is there. As I explained in that case, I, together with the court and official solicitors, were tasked to solve the problem where there were more than one wife involved in an intestacy case. So how do we solve it? So the first thing is to see, does the English law recognize these marriages? Where was the man domiciled? He was domiciled in England. Sorry, in Ghana.
In Ghana.
Just bear in mind that the issue of domicile is a legal issue.
Okay.
So there are two main types of domicile. There's a domicile of birth or domicile of origin, and then there's a domicile of choice. So if you take you, for example, you've been here for 20 years plus, your domicile of choice, whether you like it or
Or not has been the UK.
is UK. And then your domicile of origin is Ghana. There's a case that I was involved in. I'll be very careful because if I give too much, everybody will know. There are potentially several millions involved. The person was a well-known footballer. He had a British passport and a Ghanaian passport. And when he died intestate. In that case, the question was, where's his domicile? He was living here.
He was living here.
But he's also Ghanaian. He had a British passport. But the resolution was that you don't lose your domicile of birth or domicile of origin. So if eventually, when it comes to the interpretation of the law will be his domicile of birth or domicile of origin. So in the case of Yemu, the way we resolved it is that we look at the Ghanaian law
Okay.
and apply the Ghanaian law to the English law. Just remember that English principle of public policy is against polygamy.
That's right.
So anything that public policy is against is almost illegal. Okay? That's why we have bigamy. But in our type of marriages, our country recognizes it. So the British law, if you look at a case of Apt and Apt, 1937 citation, when it comes to immigration, it's a case called CB Brazil. All those cases have said that where the country of origin, which is where the marriage took place, where the country of origin recognizes that marriage, then that marriage will be recognized by the English courts. So we were able to crack it. Under intestacy rules, if the man has wife, in this case wives, they get up to a certain amount, 375, I think, thousand, and then anything after that, the wife will take 50%, and then the children will take 50%. So about 26 children, 6 marriages. So the first 300 and something thousand, because the man had a property here, I went to the wives. Under English law, it should have gone to wife. I went to the wife. So that is how we solved that Yemo case. That is how we solved the problem. And since 2010, it is the precedent for any intestacy where multiple marriages are involved. And as I said, I was involved in that case, and I'm very proud that one of my cases is a precedent for all lawyers in the UK to follow.
Well, congratulations for
Thank
that.
you.
There are more. Obviously, this man doesn't blow his own trumpet, but he's done a lot more. And a lot of the immigration issues that have been cracked have come from his stables, if I'm allowed to use that word in law. So what he put out, or what Uncle Ben and BWF solicitors put out on Monday, was that polygamous marriage is not recognized under English law if neither of the parties is domiciled in England or Wales. However, not all polygamous marriages are void. Those validly celebrated in countries that permit polygamy, where neither party is domiciled in England, can be recognized as valid under English law. And 2 cases that have been cited here. One that let me say, heralded for use is the official solicitor to the senior courts versus Yemo 2010 case. And the most recent one is the 2021 case, Secretary of State for Work and Pensions versus, is it Akita? ACTA. Well, that's that. So keep that in mind. So if you have any issues, I would want you to quickly run to BWF Solicitors, as you've seen on the screen. The telephone numbers are there. BWF Solicitors have offices in Ghana and here in the UK. Sorry. You can call 0208 493 7340 or 077 127 61884. So watch this, and I'll be asking you a question about, because my quiz is on that. I'll be giving you a scenario and I'll ask you certain questions and see if you really were able to absorb this. It's live on the community and the lawless afternoon, and we're live on BWTV. BWF Solicitors is proudly sponsoring that.
Our private client services team is recognized for providing clear and practical legal advice to our clients in the United Kingdom and Ghana. Expert help with will writing, probate, or estate administration. Our will writers and probate lawyers can act for you to obtain grant of probate and carry out estate administration on your behalf. The probate takes place after someone dies. If there's a will, the named executor is responsible for ensuring that the estate of the deceased is secured, assessing its value and paying any inheritance tax. If there is no will, the interstate and inheritance rules require similar responsibilities. Our lawyers offer strategic and practical solutions to the issues which clients face, whether it's in relation to succession planning, will preparation, probate and the administration of estates, immigration and visas, contentious family or probate disputes, administering estates often with inheritance cross-border issues, international trust advice including residence, domicile issues, wealth preservation, a fast, efficient service from SRA-regulated professionals, transparent pricing. BWF Solicitors, let us take care of probate.
Thank you very much for sticking and staying with us. Is live on your set. Please invite people. I've got Sandra Fraser doing her usual thing. Sandra, thank you very much. Well done for that. I think I need to give you a prize for being so truthful to your task. Lyrical Black, thank you very much for coming on. Portia Sari, we have Ade Mununkum, and all the other ones. Okay, Sandra is there again. Citizen Kwejo, you have a question. Kwejo, I'll be picking up that later on, don't worry. And if you also have a question like Kwejo is put on, just stick that on the comment section page of your Facebook and YouTube, or you can text it to me via WhatsApp on 07950 07950 or you can send it as a text message to 07399208468. 07399208468. That line is also going to be used as your voice line. So when we activate that, you can call in and ask your question. Uncle Ben is here, and any immigration question, any legal question, you can put that to him and he's ready to answer you. Now, surrogacy. One of the things that every couple cherishes is to have a baby. Sometimes it's difficult for couples to have that for whatever reason. Science has really helped us that women who are not able to carry the fetus can transfer that to another person to do that on their behalf. It has its implications and all the complications that really come around it. Sometimes, I'm not jumping the whole thing, but it's a legal thing. So when I've contracted you to do something for me, when you finish, your work is done and pay you and you go off. But things are happening. And that's what I want to bring up for Uncle Ben, Senior Partner, BWF Solicitors, to take us through what the implications are, how can you do that, what do you have to do and what do you not have to do, and how you can bring such a child that's born for you by another person to come and live with you here in the UK. And when as we say in our local parlance, I've drunk the soup before the fufu is finished. But I know you can really unpick that for us. Surrogacy, what is that?
Well, surrogacy, as the name suggests, is an arrangement usually with a woman to carry a child on behalf of another woman or a man or a couple. So it's an arrangement where a woman carries a child to full birth or full term for another woman and her husband, or another woman without a husband, or another woman and her partner. There are various scenarios. Then, when you go back to the scientific definition, there are two main types. There's IVF, and then where the egg is introduced into her. And there's also, that is a gamete, so they create the fertilization outside her and introduce. Or other times, obviously her egg is used, and then she will have what we call a genetic connection to the child.
Okay.
So you will have a surrogate situation where, for various reasons, a woman is not able to carry a child. Usually it's medical.
Okay.
Without going into details, because sometimes I'm very careful. I don't know who is listening, because we're dealing with a few cases now where it's surrogacy. Okay. So when I'm talking, I try to be a bit careful, but I also like to cite practical examples, because that's the only way we all learn. So you might have a woman who's gone to Ghana. We're using Ghana as a test case, because that Ghana is where we come from. I don't know what is done in America, but I know what is done in Ghana. And usually Ghana will have specialist hospitals who do that. I know there's some in after Gbawe, there's some also after Ofankor, there's some in East Legon, there's some around Airport Hills area. And these are specialist doctors who do that. Some provide a full service. I'm also very careful not to mention any hospital, because if you're not careful, you might expose some of the practices. So surrogacy, as you asked, is an arrangement.
Okay.
First of all, it's an arrangement between a woman who is a surrogate mother and another woman or a couple who are the commissioning couple or commissioning mother and father, for her to carry a baby to full term on their behalf.
So who does the arrangement? The commissioning parents and the surrogate mother. Who comes in between them? Or they can have that arrangement directly between them?
Kweku, and that's where we have the moral and ethical issues. I know having children is the most blessed of all blessings. And I know how people cherish children. And I know marriages that collapse because of absence of childbirth. So with what I'm saying, I'm just giving my legal opinion. I'm not judging anyone. So when you take the processes, ideally, in Ghana, you have two processes. You have the customary arrangement, where we all come from the same home. I'm blessed. I've got a lot of money. I'm a woman. I'm married, but for some reason, I've lost all my pregnancies. I've got a sister in her 30s who loves me to bits, and she wants to help me have my own child. So my husband is also agreeable to that arrangement. So we have a customary arrangement. Usually there will not be any written arrangement, where my sister agrees to carry our baby. It may be that I'm able, or the woman is able to produce eggs, but she cannot carry the baby to full term. So they take her egg, they take her husband's sperm, it's fertilized and then implanted in her sister's womb. That is a customary arrangement. There's also the transactional arrangement. And I use the word advisedly because under the British law, until recently, transactional arrangements were frowned upon. So the transactional arrangement is that a couple or a woman or a man with the support of another woman visits Ghana, approach a hospital. The hospital says, yes, we can help you. They then get a surrogate mother. They do their sample taking. They do what they have to do. They sign an agreement or a contract. And then the woman conceives and she carries the baby to full term and then hands over the baby to this couple or to this mother. And then this person then will have to bring the child to the UK. So I've mentioned two routes. The customary route, which is an informal arrangement between families or friends, or the formal route where legal documents are signed. Our law doesn't really prescribe transactional surrogacy. When I use the word transactional surrogacy, I mean where money is paid. That is why I refer to it as transaction.
Okay.
British law allows reasonable expenses to be paid. Or this person who's carrying your baby will incur expenses. She might not be able to go to work for several months. And those are things that the British law allows you to pay. The Ghanaian law, until fairly recently, 2020, we didn't have a law on surrogacy.
Okay.
We've now got a law on surrogacy. It's not fully developed, but we're hoping that it will be developed. I have seen arrangements where are very questionable, and I've seen arrangements which are neat and legal. And just also remember that this arrangement, you cannot force the mother to hand over her baby, because the baby is her baby. Whether she has genetic connection to the child or not, the baby is her baby.
No, so which of the women are you talking? The surrogate mother, you cannot
Absolutely.
force that.
No.
But if it was a transactional arrangement,
Yes.
the agreement is that do it for me, take your money, and you can leave.
And that is why I say there are ethical and moral issues.
Okay.
The British law, until you get a what we call a parental order for the child, it doesn't matter how connected you are to the child. Of course, if the man has a biological connection, he's a father. If the woman, the surrogate mother, is not married, then the man who produced the sperm for the creation of the child is a father in law, both in Ghana and in UK.
Okay.
But everywhere in the world, the woman who gives birth to the child is a mother of the child, both under Section 20 of the Human Fertilization and Embryology Act of 1990, Section 23 of the 1985 Act. And even in Ghana, the recognition is that the woman who is giving birth to the child, that is why there's a pre-birth order, parental order, and there's a post-birth parental order. In UK, there's only one. Within 6 weeks of the child's birth, after 6 weeks of the child's birth, you need to make an application for a parental order. Then formally, the child becomes your child. But until then, the surrogate mother can decide that I'm not playing ball anymore.
So I can see a problem here that even though it could be a customary arrangement or a transactional one, the surrogate mother can decide not to play ball. So in that sense, when that happens, what are the legal assurances for the commissioning mother?
Okay. That is why you don't go into this arrangement without proper legal advice, counseling, and representation. Remember the last time we did it, I think it was about last year, I did put a lot of emphasis on counseling.
That's right.
Listen, I deal with these cases. You know, a couple of weeks ago, um, I had one in my office, very emotional situation. I have seen the joy in mothers' faces. The last one I did for a grown-up at the time, she was in her late 50s. Her husband produced a sperm, and the woman produced the egg, and she's got a child. I think the child now is about 16, 17. I've never seen her so happy until she walked into my office and told me, Uncle Ben, she calls me her brother, Uncle Ben, I've got my child. And she was so happy. And the joy that women, especially women, and also men, go through when this surrogacy arrangement works well is the best that I've seen for these people, because some of them come to us at early stages of the arrangement. So we see they are down, almost depressive, very sad, weeping at every mention of the child, the arrangement, the stress, and everything. Because they are also praying that the pregnancy becomes viable.
Okay.
Because a woman can carry and lose
it.
after a few months. So there's a lot of stress on all of them. The woman who has had a child has an emotional attachment to the child.
Obviously, yeah.
She's carried the child for 9 months.
For 9 months.
She's seen the
And
child.
would have breastfed, weaned the young person
Yes,
before handing
yeah,
over.
it's not everybody who allows that. So in some of the agreements that I've read, you're not allowed. So once a child is birthed, the child is taken away. So there's no time
To have
for
that
you to
emotional
have,
bond.
yeah, and it can be mental and emotional wrecking. That is why I say that, you know, maybe in Ghana we need to have a proper discussion. One of my clients has told me that some of the doctors want to speak to me. I'm happy to speak to them next week and see whether we can have a proper form. The things that I don't want to say, I don't want to expose. There's a case that has come up, and a lot of allegations have been made. So I'm very, very careful. And it's possible that my client is also watching. So I'm very careful with the things that I say. But there are ethical issues that our government needs to look into, because surrogacy has come to stay. It solves a lot of problems if it's done properly.
Yeah.
In the US, in Singapore, Malaysia, in some European countries, Asian countries, it's been done for decades. So they've mastered it. We only recently, in 2020, put it into law. Even then, it's partial. So my preference is for us to have a proper guidance or code of practice for the hospitals that do this, to do it properly. As I said, I don't want to mention some of the practices, but some of the practices, it's not something that we should approve of. And the
Not to take the wind out of your sail, I asked earlier on who mediates between the two parties. For instance, if I approach a lawyer, a doctor, or somebody very well respected in the community, and I put my problem before that person and say, well, I can help you, but I'm going to arrange for that to happen. You do not need to see that person for reasons obvious. Is that allowed?
Kweku, you can see I'm struggling. I am struggling, not because I haven't got an answer. I do have an answer. But as I said, I think we need to look at the practices carefully. I really don't want to put spanners in the works of potential happy parents. But the UK law expects that, one, you meet the surrogate mother.
Okay.
You meet them. Two, you have legal representation.
Okay.
She has legal representation. She agrees to the arrangement. You agree to the arrangement coming from an informed position.
Right.
The informed position is that if I sit down with a potential commissioning mother, what I want to say to them is, You need to check the biologicals of this person. You need to check their mental state. You need to check their health, whether they are HIV positive, any traces of hereditary or genetic diseases. You need to rule all that out because you have the chance to. This is not your body. So it's not a body that you've seen growing up. If it's your sister who's doing it, yes, you know her body. But this is a
But
total stranger.
Even that, there are certain things that you may not know.
Well, that's true. But you know whether she's a drinker, a smoker, a drug taker, has some other bad moral behavior, ethical issues. So for us, if you want to do it, we will sit down with you, which is I usually do. I'm the only person who does it. I'll sit down with you. I'll counsel you. I will then draft pre-contract advice to you and explain to you what you should look out for. When you go to Ghana, it's very likely that the hospital says, oh no, leave everything for us. We will get you a lawyer. That's fine, but you need to just let them know. One, I want to meet the surrogate mother. I know that the usual excuse is that, no, we don't want her to know you. We don't want her to blackmail you. But you have to know. You have to ensure that her welfare is catered for.
That's right.
Because it's a transactional contract. But also, you want to be sure that whatever you're paying towards her upkeep is going to her. You need to be sure that she's doing all her preterm examinations and investigations and everything, that the pregnancy is monitored. Now, I have no doubt that the hospitals are professional, manned by professional doctors who will look out for this. But I also know that even in the Western world, we had issues where a nurse is alleged to have killed, well, not alleged, now convicted, to have killed children because that is what gives her kicks. And we've had Dr. Shipman who was injecting people with stuff. So yes, even medical professionals sometimes have ethical issues against them. So you can't rely on the goodwill of a medical professional to say, you know, all you do is pay me the money,
And I'll get you a baby.
I will get you the baby, without you seeing whether, one,
It was even truly your sperm that was used.
well, if
or
it's not
your fetus.
DNA, because you cannot bring the child here without a DNA.
Okay.
Absolutely not. The child cannot come to the UK without a DNA from an approved organization. But I'm also saying that because it's not always that the commissioning mother has genetic connection to the baby. Majority of the cases, the commissioning mother doesn't have genetic connection. So even if they do a DNA, it will not be her. But she will have a say in who provides a sperm.
Okay.
So you might have somebody whose friend is doing it for her. You might have someone whose partner, they are unmarried and doing it for her. So those ones you will know. But you also want to know, where's my child sleeping? What's my child eating? Because the pregnant mother who's eating is the food that she's eating. That is how the
goes to
baby is
nourish the
fed.
baby.
Absolutely. Whether she's been counseled properly and monitored, or you need to monitor. She needs to do, I would say, every 2-3 months, she needs to be seen by a doctor for her blood to be checked whether she's taking drugs and all those things, and for her hair sample. Because when you take drugs, the last place it leaves is your hair.
Yeah.
So, you know, they take hair samples, you bring her here, or they do it in Ghana, they do the sample to check whether she's taking any banned substances. These are critical for every child. And that is why I say that I know that, you know, people rely on the medical people, and I have nothing against them, but I just want to be sure that you are also part of the monitoring system.
Right. If you just joined us, you're live on BWTV, and we're discussing surrogacy and the rules governing bringing that child to the UK. We started the discussion as to what it is and what goes into that arrangement and the cautions that there are to be observed. And Uncle Ben is taking his time to go through that. you'd realize that he is acting very professionally about it because there are certain things that border on privacy and the rest of it. Surrogacy, immigration, and nationality law procedure, how to meet the UK bit in bringing your child here. We will be looking at what goes into that arrangement, how you can do that without going foul of the law. This is the Community Under Law, and it's brought to you by BWF Solicitors. We'll be right back.
This is our world. Here we are in our community. There are the laws. There are the regulations. We have BWF Solicitors. BWF Solicitors, experts in all aspects of the law, family law, civil litigation, all immigration and nationality issues, representation in court, marriage and divorce. We pride ourselves to give you excellent legal services and follow through till we get you the right result and decisions. That is our mutual satisfaction. We have a team of excellent qualified solicitors and support team to help you every step of the way. Our senior partner, with over 30 years of unbroken service to the community, is a member of the Family Law Panel and has advised several lawyers and institutions in many legal matters. He is qualified to practice both in the UK and in Ghana. Come to us. Speak to us. Let us represent you. We are your trusted community partners when it comes to the law. Locate us on the 4th floor of the Anna House, 214 to 218 High Road at Seven Sisters in North London, N15 4NP. Nearest train station, Victoria Line to Seven Sisters Station, exit number 2. We are open for all consultations from Monday to Friday, 9:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Weekends by appointment only. Call us now on 0208 493 7340 or 077 127 61884. BWF Solicitors, your trusted legal partner.
Yes, we're live on BWTV. We're discussing surrogacy and the rules around it. So if you have any question, just put that in the comment section, or you can text 0739920848. If you have a WhatsApp message or a voice note, send it to our WhatsApp line 07950422 780. And Uncle Ben will help us answer that. Lyrical Black, well, I think I envy where it is that you're watching us from. Well done. Portia Sari, you are live with us. Thank you very much. Kenny Odro, thank you very much. Anita Japoma, thank you for joining. George, you are also welcome. And what I will ask you to do is to share the page so that a lot of people will benefit from what we are discussing. Surrogacy. You would have gone through that, taking care of everything that need to be taken care of. Lawyers, doctors, and the counselors have given you everything that you need. It has happened. The child is born and handed over to you without any problem. But then, as Uncle Ben mentioned earlier on, the mother is the mother. The person that carried it is the biological mother. So you, the commissioning mother, what do you have to do so you can legally get your child? And how do you go about the immigration aspect of that whole thing to bring the child to the UK? Uncle Ben, these are the issues. How do we go about it?
Well, I mean, first of all, once everything is successful, the next stage is you want to bring the child to the UK. On this basis, there are two things that I will mention. I will mention that either you're genetically connected to the child as a father. So you may have transferred your British citizenship to the child. You follow the law. You've done the pre-birth parental order. And within Ghana, you can also do the post-birth parental order. UK has only one parental order. That is usually done after 6 weeks of the birth of the child. You can come and do it here. But if you've done it in Ghana, that will be acceptable by the British government. If none of the, or if either of the parents does not have genetic connection with the child, then you're potentially looking at adoption rather than parental order. So I just want to clarify that at least one of the parents must be genetically connected to the child for the couple to get a parental order under English law. Section 30 makes that emphatically a requirement that without genetic connection by either of the parents, the child cannot be your child, and the only way is to go through an adoption process. So the father is obviously the father who's provided the sperm, unless the surrogate mother is married. But also I can't foresee a situation where someone is married and the husband will allow her to go through that process. It's possible that it happens. That is why there's a law for it. But in Ghana, I haven't seen anything like that yet. If you're a British citizen, that is the easy part. You've got your parental order, the child immediately is a British citizen. If you have indefinite leave to remain, then you need to make an application under paragraph 297 of the immigration rules. What they will have to look at is the eligibility requirement. The child is your child. You've got parental order. You followed all the processes. You've done a DNA. The DNA must be done by an approved provider in the UK. We only use Anglian DNA because Dr. Hazel is our friend and is also a Ghanaian, so we like to use his business. Once you've got a DNA in place, you complete application online. It goes to them, they do an assessment. You meet the maintenance requirement, you meet the accommodation requirement. You haven't abandoned the children, so clearly, although the children are slightly older now, because these things take a bit of time, you still have evidence of contact and or decision making in the children's life. Because again, there could be sole responsibility issues, because although you're the parent, if you've abandoned the children and haven't made all the major decisions, that is a factor that can come under paragraph 297IE, and that will be the sole parental responsibility, and that could be an issue. So once you've met all that, you then put in an application. They will examine, look at the records. They will look at everything from the surrogate arrangement. So the contracts that you've signed are usually will also exhibit any counseling that we've given, social services report, any medical report, the scans of the pregnancy, the antenatal records. And I would suggest that at intervals, you go to Ghana and attend this appointment with a surrogate mother. Ask the doctor to note it, that you are present, because it helps for the application to be smooth. And then once you've got all these processes, you've got the medical records. After the child is born, you will have to go and register the child with your name and details on the birth certificate. The Ghanaian law, which is the new birth registry requirements 2020, I think it's Act 1002 or so, allows you to register the birth in your name if you've got a pre-birth order or you've got a post-birth order. Then you can register the child. Once you've got a birth certificate for the child, it means that the child is yours now. The parental order is to transfer parental responsibility from the surrogate mother to the commissioning parents. Until that is done, the child is still her child.
Can any challenge be raised when the parental order is given, or that seals it.
Okay, so to get a parental order, both parties, I mean the surrogate mother
And the
and the
commissioning.
commissioning parents must give consent.
Okay.
So the most important consent is the one from the surrogate mother.
Okay.
She must give consent willingly and voluntarily without any compulsion or enforcement against her. Once she signs the consent, the court is happy that she signed the consent. The court in Ghana will grant the order. The court in England will also grant the order. If you want to bring the child or do the application here, you can do it here. You can bring the child and do it here. You can do that. But the processes leading to the birth of the child is as significant as the processes after the birth of the child. In Ghana, you will need a pre-birth parental order. It's compulsory. If you don't get it, you can get one after the child is born.
Should that be within that 6-week
Yes.
window?
Well, after 6 weeks. After
After
6
6
weeks
weeks.
of birth, yes.
Okay.
Because that allows the mother to settle down, emotionally settled. She's obviously ready to consider any issues, including handing over her child. Because that's what the child is. That the child is her child. Handing over her child to the commissioning parents.
Sorry for bringing you back, but if it's a transactionary arrangement, we have agreed to X amount of money for you to do this for me. At what point can the surrogate mother change her mind? And in changing her mind, the argument may be that one way or the other being coerced to agree to this. But once you agreed to the amount and even started the process, you willingly decided to do it. So there wouldn't be any coercion, even when it is 10 years after the baby was born.
And that is where the error comes in. So in British law and in Ghanaian law, there's nothing like an enforceable surrogacy agreement.
Okay.
The British law frowns upon it.
Right.
There's been cases where it's come to the UK court and the courts have said, well, you signed this, so the child must come. Or the child must stay.
Must stay.
Until the child comes here, they don't have jurisdiction.
Okay.
That's different. But almost always, if the woman doesn't want to give the child to you, that agreement is unenforceable. Because after all the processes is done, she has to give another consent. If she withholds the consent, the process is stopped.
So the parental order is critical.
The parental order is an order that transfers parental responsibility to you.
Okay.
Without that, the child is the woman's child.
Anyway, I've nothing more to ask. So let's look at when you applying for a child to be brought to the UK. What are the steps? I've got the parental order. I've got every evidence to show that I have been part of the process to the point of parental order being given. Are these the things that the UK immigration rules will want to look for?
So the UK immigration rules on surrogacy, they've prepared what we call inter-country surrogacy rules. They've made it clear that there's no international standard for surrogacy. Every country is different.
Okay.
But if you want to bring the child here, you must comply with our laws, mate. If you don't, then they will pull you up. I'm dealing with a case where it's become a bit more complex. And those processes are key. The process of meeting the surrogate mother, the process of ensuring that throughout the stages of the pregnancy that you are involved, they are key to the British government.
Okay.
And there are laws for it. the HFE 1990, Section 20, Section 30, the 1985 Act, Section 20, I think Section 57. Those are critical laws that were specifically made for scenarios like this. And you ought to comply with those laws for the British government to accept that the processes were legal. Okay. You may get a parental order from another country, but the British government may not accept it because there's no genetic connection, or some of the aspects that has been advised in the document called intercountry surrogacy procedures and processes have not been followed. That's why I say to everyone, anyone who wants to do a surrogacy in Ghana, please seek legal advice here.
Mm-hmm. Proper.
Kweku, over the last year, I have received over 50 inquiries from people. I've dealt with at least 15 live cases. Some that are advised, come, let's go through the process, and they haven't turned up. I hope it doesn't happen, but they are obviously building a problem for them to bring the child, because that's how challenging it will be. So what we say to people is that seek legal advice in the UK, because your child is going to come to
the UK, obviously.
The advantage that you will have with somebody like me, maybe I'm not the only one, and obviously we never say we are the only one with knowledge, is you've got me who has Ghanaian knowledge and qualification, and as a member of the Ghana Bar Association, has been approved by the General Legal Council, has a practice in Ghana, and hold a practicing certificate in the UK recognized by the English and the Welsh Law Society and the Solicitors Regulation Authority. The advantage you get is that you get a Ghanaian advice because I'm a Ghanaian lawyer. You get a UK advice because I'm a UK lawyer. My interest is to ensure that the joy that comes after the birth doesn't end when you can't get British passport for the child.
Yeah.
Or you've got a Ghanaian passport for the child, you cannot get a right of abode or cannot get a vignette in the passport to bring the child. That is nerve-wracking as not getting the child at all. Mm-hmm. Because you may have to take a lot of time off work to go to Ghana and see to the child's welfare. The other problem is that if you leave this child too long, then paragraph 297IE is coming into play, which is that you haven't had sole responsibility.
That thing.
And those are the issues.
That thing, sole responsibility.
Yeah. And those are the issues that a prompt and quick legal advice will equip you to go. And as I said, my client says, the doctors have asked to speak to me. I want to be sure that when we speak, that they understand that children who are coming to the UK, there's certain processes that they have to follow. And it's very, very key, because I don't want to see a parent who, so far I haven't mentioned money, because that is not the most important thing. There's no value to a human being. You cannot value how much a child is to another person. Yeah. It's priceless.
It's priceless, yeah.
So I don't put value on it. But whatever you've gone to pay, that's not my focus. My focus is that the processes are as transparent, ethical, morally right, as legally right. And you will get that if you take a proper legal advice. There's one that I was looking at the other time. I even offered her free advice because I didn't want her to suffer. And I hope that the things that I've told her, she would do, because it's not only just finding someone and getting the pregnancy going. It's after the child is born, what happens.
Well, if you've got a question, you can send that to our chat. And you can also text it to us. I've got one on the chat that's asking, Uncle Ben, let me quickly pick the one up. It's asking, I think it's Ademununkum is asking, can you adopt the baby if the mother decides not to give up the baby?
Well, if the mother is not giving up to the commissioning parents, why would she give the child up for adoption?
Maybe,
You know?
maybe she would want more money.
Well, I mean, I'm careful not to talk about money because just bear in mind that the UK law frowns upon transactional surrogacy. They allow reasonable payment for expenses, not to enrich the person or for anybody to make a profit.
Okay. You can text in your comments and we'll put it up for Uncle Ben to help us answer that. You can also call in 07399208468, 07399208468. Citizen Kojo, yes, there's a time for me to pick up your question. Kojo, who is on a skilled worker visa, has no job from his sponsor, but currently working on a 20-hour shift with another employer, which he is entitled to. Okay. Kojo is deciding to go extra 20 hours from a second employer to add up to make it 40 hours a week since he's struggling financially with the 20 hours. Will this have any implication on this application when it's due for renewal? Also, what is the advice for those that have a skilled worker visa but not having a job from their sponsor, but in order to survive, they have found full-time employment elsewhere?
Kweku, when these things come, listen, I can show you my phone. Today, most of the messages I've received from 7:30 a.m. till when I got here, it's about skilled worker. We don't have employment. Most of them.
We were giving the impression that there's a lot of vacancies, so people could come in as many as.
Kweku, there's 160,000 vacancies. 160. There are 20 million people who need carers. 20 million.
So how come people don't have jobs?
Well, let me put it this way. Those that are advised and I represent, I haven't heard or seen anyone complain that they don't give them work. Because I advise businesses and I represent businesses, I make sure I protect their employment contracts, I make sure that I protect their business. So that one is there. I was in Ghana recently. My best friend, his niece, actually she arrived yesterday. She's done one of these. And so the issue was, I even called my cousin's daughter, my niece, well, let's put it that way, for her to speak to her. Two of them have come here. One is a proper nurse, so she's now working for the NHS to prepare. And what comes up is that these businesses don't give you work. And people are frustrated. And it's just like catch 29. The issue mainly is that this is the advice I give everybody. And maybe one day we'll do a video. Before you sign up to any of this, you need to make sure that you know what you're coming into. When they give you offer of work, that itself is a contract. What is a contract? Is an employment contract. Because an offer of employment is subject to what we call probationary period.
Right.
You also want to know whether they've got ready work. So if you don't ask these questions, and there are people that have you asked this question? They are not interested. All they want to do, they want to come here.
Okay.
There are people who just want to come here. That's fine. I obviously, I would not really get involved in things like that. But there are also people who were genuinely told that there is offer of employment and there is ready work. The businesses that I know, there's one particular business. In fact, two of the businesses they employ over 500 people at every point in time. So what they do, and I think I will bring one of them on this program. for him to advise the care industry about how to bid for contract. They are constantly bidding for contract. Because Kweku, some of the people that they bring, they cause them to lose their contract. There's a case where, let me be careful. Let me be careful. There's a case where a business person has got this person. This person has to be monitored 24 hours. Gone out with this child and stayed on her mobile phone, and the child has gone missing.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
So in this case,
total negligence.
yeah, this is a local authority child. And Kweku, you will know better than I do
Oh,
what the implications are. So reasons like that, you can lose the contract. And when you lose a contract, potentially these contracts are hundreds of thousands of pounds. That is how some of them don't have business. Because when they employ, they don't train, these are untrained people, and they go into work, they cause them to lose some of the contract. And that is why they have to be proactively looking for extra work every time, so that the people they bring, they have work. That is one. The second one is that if you know that the work you have, and you would have done this for several years, is that at every point in time, you've got 50 people needed or 100. You've brought in 100 people. Please stop.
Yeah, because that's your capacity.
You see, and you know, I just have to be careful. Recently, somebody's been arrested and detained. Her contract has been taken from her. She's facing investigation for modern slavery, and the police are also involved for fraud. There's another Ghanaian business which has been closed down. So the first thing I tell anybody who wants to come to the UK to work as a carer is, please don't be a mumu. When a Nigerian man says mumu, please ask questions. Do you have a business? How many vacancies do you have? Please, you are the one who's coming to work. You are the one who's going to pay for your travel. Maybe they might pay for you, but you will pay them. It's not free. So you will pay. The visa fee is over £2,000. It's actually going up, apart from the shortage occupation. It's over 2,000. If you add that to your fare, that's about £3,000. Your first month, they've offered you accommodation, give and take about £650. That is 3,650. You're going to use a lawyer's service. The lawyer is charging, let's say, about 1,000. That is 4,750 or 4,650. That's a lot of money. So even if it's free, this money will have to be paid. You have to pay the lawyer. You have to pay your course fee, your application fee. You have to pay your fare. So even if it's somebody who's offered you free, and you've paid all this money, you're here, there's no work. And that's why you need to ask questions.
Yeah.
You just don't say, my brother paid for me, so, well, if your brother paid for you, and that's why somebody's legitimately asking. Since the 27th of August, you cannot work more than 20 hours in care. From February to 27th of August, you could do more, and there were people who were doing 60, 70 hours. Beyond what their sponsor is asking them to do. But there are also sponsors who are now doing a running shift. So they're doing morning shift and afternoon shift. They give you 10 hours for a week. They give another 10 hours for a week. Meanwhile, your contract says 38, 39, 40 hours a week.
So you're always short.
And the problem is that when it comes to renewal, some of them have got only 1 year. There's a case that came to me about a month ago. When they arrived there, the employer had made a mistake. The employer had only given them 3 months visa. So when they were writing 3 years, they put in 3 months.
Whoa.
They gave them the visa. They paid their money. They got here. As soon as they got here, they went to the post. No, we don't know you. You don't have a biometric card because your visa is less than whatever period. They said, no, we should have. We've got a contract for 3 years. So no, it's 3 months. The employer or the sponsor said, no, go back. One of them was heavily pregnant. He said, go back. So you know the woman. You know the woman. So, so they got to me. I spoke to the employer, who was somewhere in Kenya or Uganda or somewhere, and I did explain to them that this is an issue that can be resolved, and we resolved it.
Yeah.
So the sponsors don't want to pay for legal advice. They want to do the abuga buga. There's also someone who is even taking visitors, apply for EU settlement scheme for them to get a COA, lie to them that the COA is leave to remain, then give the COA to some unscrupulous people. They issues certificate of COS. It goes to Home Office. Home Office comes back and say, we've refused you. Apparently this legal person is charging over 3,000. And I offered to call, but on the second thought, I left it. Because sometimes when you get involved in this, our own people will tell you, oh, why are you doing that? So I wanted to tell him that, listen, you're working in a firm of solicitors. I know you're not a solicitor, but he's working in a firm of solicitors. If you're not careful, you're going to have that firm shut down. Because what you're doing is not legal. The guy came to my office. I pulled my PC. My PC is big. I turn it around. I said, let's read the law together. COA is not leave to remain. For you to get a certificate of sponsorship, you must have leave to remain, not visitor's visa.
Yeah.
So how is COA leave? So, oh, the man said they've given me 6 months, so it means that I can go. I said, no. He left my office, and then he just left. There are so many unscrupulous people around.
Yeah, obviously.
And that's why I always tell people that our community work, our community responsibility is to bring you what we believe is the basic law that you need to know, and most people know. And for us, you know, if we can get involved to resolve it, we always do. But sometimes they go to people. I remember there was a lady who was telling me, a lawyer with 31 years experience, that somebody who has got A-level from Ghana, sorry, he's got a diploma from Ghana, can use a diploma as English, because in this country, O-level, GCE, SC, O-level, and A-level is accepted. As I've read the law carefully, these are people who've gone to secondary schools here. So, but diploma is higher than GCSE. Well, the long and short is, I sent her a text where I said, I just don't want to be rude to you, but please, let's stop it, okay? You're misleading this person. What you're saying is not legal, and if that's what you want to do, I don't want to be part of this. But our people should also speak for themselves.
So ask the questions and you will get the right answer, and especially ask from the right people. BWF Solicitors is your sure bet. So give them a call, 0208-493-7340 or 077-127-61884. One here says, good evening. I've made a settlement application for my children. They were here through their dad and got his settlement 2 years ago because of because of that, we made an application for the children, but they haven't got leave with him. They haven't lived with him. Okay, you spelled it L-E-A-V, so that's why I thought it was leave. They have not lived with him since they came to the UK, but they are asking me to prove if they are at the same address. What can I do? You've made a settlement application for your children. They were here through their dad, and he got a settlement 2 years ago. Because of that, you made an application for the children, but they haven't lived with him since they came to the UK. Now, they're asking him to prove that they have the same address. And they live at
Yeah, I mean, the question for the same address tells me that this is a dependency case.
Okay.
And if it's a dependency case, then it's an EU settlement case. And if it's an EU settlement case, then those are critical points that you must deal with. First of all, whether you live with your father or not, the issue of dependency is for you to prove that you're dependent on the father. The fact that you don't live with your father doesn't mean that you're not dependent. You need to show that he sends you money regularly, he pays your rent, or he does some other significant thing for you. I know that when most people arrive, they go and find their own accommodation. They come very late in their life, over 21, that's why they are dependent. 25, 26, the first thing they want to do, NI number, work, go and write. Father is living in a one-bedroom accommodation, can't really live there with him, son is gone. But we always tell them that you need to put evidence so the father can do a regular transfers to the child. It's not too late, you can still do it now and make sure that you've got evidence of the father paying something for them, either with his card, which shows on his bank statement, the things he can pay for, eye test, dental care. I know there's NHS, but you can also pay for GP. So, for example, because I don't want to wake up at 6 o'clock and call my GP and queue, if I want something, then I go and pay. It's not a lot of money. You can pay as little as £20 for a private GP. Yeah, for a private GP. So we can pay that £40 for half an hour, and that's money well spent. They will do all the tests for you if you have to do tests. You can pay for that eye test as well. You can do. There are some dentists who don't do NHS. There's some who do. You can go to any of them and say you want them to treat you as a private client. Just do cleaning, simple cleaning or examination. Raise a bill for £40, £60. Your father pays that. Those are evidence that your father is provided for you, and then you can use that to pay. Yeah.
Okay. 0739920848, 0795042278. Citizen Kojo brings this one. He says Kojo's mother died at birth, and he's been looked after by Dora since then. Kojo was brought up by Dora, and he's now 30 and living in the UK. All of Kobe's birth certificates and other documents say that Dora is the mother. Kobe wants to bring his mother into the UK, and they ask for a DNA. This wouldn't match Dora's biological. This wouldn't match Dora as the biological mother. What can he do in this situation?
Well, again, I had the good fortune to speak to a very, very key person that represents our government in this country. And the issue of the integrity of Ghanaian birth certificate is coming up a lot. So how did this happen? How can you put somebody on your birth certificate when the person is not your mother? It may be that the person was adopted, maybe customary adoption, I'm not sure, but some form of adoption has happened. You need to explain. Recently, I had to advise a similar case where, it's a child of the woman, but not the man, but they've obtained a birth certificate to say that it's a child of the woman and child of the man. But they both know that it's just a child of the woman because Ghana for Mokasa, she's gone to marriage, she's already got a child, she didn't want people to complain, but the man is a pastor. Why this is an issue in this present 21st century, I don't know. But just to make sure that, things don't blow up, they've done this. Now they're both here, they want to bring their child, and there's issue about, well, it's only recently that you've got her birth certificate. They will never ask you for DNA, they don't. For the past 6, 7, 8 years, they've been told by the Home Office not to ask for DNA. But then you know that the questions they're asking, the only thing that will solve
your problem is to have a DNA.
So nobody's asking you to bring the DNA, but you know that you need a DNA to prove this case. I'm sure that you know that, of course, they cannot produce a DNA. Also, how the name went to the birth certificate. It may be a customary adoption. So you can explain, because Ghana, we have something called customary adoption.
Okay.
Yeah. So where your sister or somebody else hands their child to you and gifts the child to you. That is pure customary adoption.
In that case, do you have to go further to make it legal?
Wow, this person is 30 years.
Right.
So that was done long time.
time
Even
ago.
then, Ghana was not a Hague country.
Okay.
So what they need to do is to explain that Ghana allows customary adoption. So that is what they did. I mean, they're not buying it, but at least you've given explanation why her name ended up on the birth certificate. It's far better to get that than to just leave it. Because if you just leave it, then the mother is never going to come here.
0739920848. Naomi, I think Uncle Ben has answered your question. There's another person in Lithuania that wants to have a chat with Uncle Ben. I've just texted him to call back in an hour. At the moment, it's difficult because he wouldn't have the chance. He's live on air, so he wouldn't have the chance to. Let's see what Ruby has for us. Ruby says that can the commissioning parents decide that the child is born in the UK, meaning the surrogate mother travels to the UK before having birth?
Yes, yeah, that's possible. So in this case, the surrogate mother may come here and have the child. That's also possible. Just remember that if you're going on the NHS, they will pay. So you need to put all that arrangement in. They may also come for what we call private medical treatment. Childbirth will come under private medical
Would
treatment.
it be difficult getting a visa for
No,
such a situation?
No, you won't. It won't be difficult at all.
All right.
Once you've got the resources, and because there's the genuine visitor bit applies to all Appendix V applications. So even whether it's medical visitor or whatever, you have to make sure that there's element of evidence that the person will go back to their country of origin.
Okay. Derek has a question for us. Derek says that, good evening, Rick and Uncle Ben. Please, is there a reason why some student-dependent partners get restricted work on their visa, and what jobs are they restricted from taking?
Well, now there are various classes of universities. There's some who are, somebody would say, highly favored and blessed.
Blessed
Yes,
universities.
but those are those ones that have extra category. Now, usually your dependent will have the free role to do any work that they want to do. I've heard people say that they are restricted. If they are restricted, the first thing you want to look at is that what type of student or university is this person in? Once you know the type of university, you have to ask how many years is left or how many years is left on the course. When did this dependent come? Those are the ones that usually have with restricted work. But above all, most of the universities will qualify under the Class 1 or the Class A, which has a highly favored and blessed ones.
Okay. Naomi, you asked a question about settlement visa for your children that were here through their dad. You're saying they are 14 and 12, and they've been here for 4 years. In November, there will be 4 years. The dad pays child maintenance because he wasn't supporting, and the dad was reported to the child maintenance. That question more or less was addressed earlier on by Uncle Ben. I just want to recognize that. Nanechi Ahine says, with DNA, how can the laboratory get the samples if the parent is in UK and the child is in Ghana? Now, listen, I'll answer you this one. Angla DNA, the last time I told you that Dr. Thomas Hazel and his organization are well-renowned. Let me give you a very good example. When COVID was with us, they were the prime organization that were taking samples at Heathrow and doing the COVID test. So you know our big brother is well qualified and recognized. They have representatives in Ghana that will go to your person's place or residence and take the samples. They have qualified representatives that will do that. So don't worry at all. I would recommend that you use Anglia DNA, ANGLIA DNA. When you Google them, you find the address, and they're so efficient and professional. Throughout COVID times, whenever I wanted to travel, I think at least I traveled twice. I had my COVID test with them, and it is easy. They're so friendly, and they will help you do everything that you have to do. So trust Anglo DNA. Wherever they are in the country, Ghana, they will get people to go and take the samples for you. So don't worry at all. Citizen Kojo, yours will be the last one before we go on to our quiz. And it says Kojo's mother died at, I think we've dealt with this one before. So that's that. Now we're moving to nugget again, and I'll come with my question. So let me read that for you again. Polygamous marriage is not recognized under English law if neither of the parties is domiciled in England or Wales. However, not all polygamous marriages are void. These validly celebrated in countries that permit polygamy where neither party is domiciled in England can be recognized as valid under English law. There are two cases that have been cited. So now, my question is this. I'm going to read out the question, let you think about it, and then I'll take a break. And when I come back, I will be asking you to give me the answers. Kwame Ahinkan, domiciled in Ghana, had 6 wives, polygamous, and 20 children. He died in 2020 without a will, and therefore, under English law, he died intestate. He has 6 properties in England and 5 in Ghana, with an estate valued at £20 million. His wives and children applied for shares of the estate in the UK High Court. Under English law, polygamous marriages are not valid if neither of the parties is domiciled in a country that recognizes that marriage. Can you put that down so I can read the lyrics? Yeah. Is the application likely to succeed? 3 answers and 3 options. 1, no, because polygamy is not valid under English law. 2, yes, because the properties are in England. And 3, yes, because the deceased was domiciled in Ghana. So Kwame Ahinkan, that reminds me that Kwame Antobam, our very good friend Antobam from Wales, is online and he's enjoyed the whole program. Thank you very much, my brother, for staying with us. Kwame Ahinkan, domiciled in Ghana, had 6 wives and 20 children. He died in 2020 without a will, and therefore, under English law, he died intestate. He has 6 properties in England and 5 in Ghana, with an estate valued at £20 million. His wives and children applied for shares of the estate in the UK High Court. Under English law, polygamous marriages are not valid if neither of the parties is domiciled in a country that recognizes that marriage. Is the application likely to succeed? No, because polygamy is not valid under English law. 2, yes, because the properties are in England. And 3, yes, because the deceased was domiciled in Ghana. Think about it. I'll be right back.
Our private client services team is recognized for providing clear and practical legal advice to our clients in the United Kingdom and Ghana. Expert help with will writing, probate or estate administration. Our will writers and probate lawyers can act for you to obtain grant of probate and carry out estate administration on your behalf. The probate takes place after someone dies. If there's a will, the named executor is responsible for ensuring that the estate of the deceased is secured, assessing its value and paying any inheritance tax. If there is no will, the intestate and inheritance rules require similar responsibilities. Our lawyers offer strategic and practical solutions to the issues which clients face, whether it's in relation to succession planning, will preparation, probate and the administration of estates, immigration and visas, contentious family or probate disputes, administering estates often with inheritance cross-border issues, international trust advice including residence, domicile issues, wealth preservation, a fast, efficient service from SRA-regulated professionals, transparent pricing.
BWF Solicitors.
Let us take care of probate.
Okay, so welcome back. Thank you very much. We're live on the community and the law, and I believe that you've gone through your answers now. I've seen that Citizen Kwajo says it's number 2. Yes, because the properties are in England. Kwame Ahinkai lived in Ghana. He domiciled in Ghana. And remember, Uncle Ben has told us that domicile in itself is a legal thing. So maybe I will seek for clarification again. If somebody is, for UK immigration purposes, you must be domiciled in the UK for at least 12 months, isn't it?
No. To say someone is domiciled in England is a factual assessment. That means that their intention is to make UK their home.
Okay.
So if somebody is a student here, the intention is to go back.
Right.
If somebody comes here as a spouse, the intention is to stay. So it's not only the duration, but it's the intention.
Intention.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Prof, let's go back to the thing. So, he domiciled in Ghana. So his intention was to stay in Ghana and stayed for a number of months, years. He had 6 wives and 20 children. He died in 2020 and without a will. Therefore, under English law, he died intestate. I don't know whether people will remember how the distribution is done under English law. Maybe I'll test you on that another time. He has 6 properties in England and 5 in Ghana, with an estate valued at £20 million. His wives and children applied for shares of the estate in the UK High Court. Under English law, polygamous marriages are not valid if neither of the parties is domiciled in a country that recognizes the marriage. Is the application likely to succeed? Ademonunkum comes with an answer and it says number 2. That is yes, because the properties are in England. Najimai, yes, thank you very much for asking people to share. Give me your answers because I'm going to go over to Uncle Ben for an explanation and an answer in a minute. Who else is coming? Let's see. And just remember again that we get into the end of the year, and my friend that won the quiz competition last year is going to enjoy his holiday. When he comes back, I will ask for his experience. I'll bring him on TV. Okay, now for time, let's go to Uncle Ben and see what our answer would be. Is it number 1, 2, or 3?
Okay, so this question, so we intentionally put the answer in the question. So when you look at paragraph 3 of the question,
under English law, polygamous marriages are not valid if neither of the parties is domiciled in a country that recognizes that marriage.
Under English law, polygamous marriages are not recognized if neither. So if any of them are not are not domiciled in a country which recognizes it, then it's not. Let's go to the question again.
Okay.
Paragraph 1.
Paragraph 1 says, Kwame Ahinkai domiciled in Ghana.
Stop there. So we have the answer. The answer is in the question.
So those of you say, well, Kojado, you have waited for Uncle Ben to give an explanation and you're coming up with 3. Yes, because the deceased was domiciled in Ghana. But the question is this: is the application likely to succeed?
Yes.
Yes.
Because,
there are 2 yeses.
Yeah.
1 yes says, so we've ruled out number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2 says, because the properties are in England.
That's wrong.
That's wrong. So the answer is number 3.
Yes.
Kwame Ado, did you overtake me or what? Yes, because the deceased was domiciled in Ghana.
Yeah.
So yeah, I recommend maybe no. This one is on social media as well. You put it out later on. I think on Facebook and Instagram pages. This one comes out. So definitely look out for it. Take your time, study it, and also if you can watch back the program from the beginning. Uncle Ben succinctly explained that the person, if domiciled in a particular country, that is where it applies. So if Ghana recognizes polygamous marriages, you know where it is. If UK does not recognize polygamous marriages, you know where it is. And there's one thing that really, really hits me in there. It's about the man dying interstate. which means that he did not write a will. Listen, it is inevitable. We will all go. It's 6 feet for all of us. We will all go. But when you leave, how is the situation behind you like? Ask yourself. You have people you so cherish, you so would wish to carry on your legacy, you so wish to leave your properties behind for. Why don't you put it in a legal document? Write a will. Write a will. And BWF Solicitors, as a community service, has specialized in that niche product to get you to do the needful and the rightful thing. Talk to BWF Solicitors, 0208 493 7340 or 077 127 61884. Please write your will. Talk to Uncle Ben and BWF Solicitors, and they'll help you. They will help you. I know they will help you. So do it. Okay, so we'll go against tradition. We are going to ask Uncle Ben to give us a brief summary of what we discussed today, and we'll draw the curtains down. Uncle Ben.
So today we've looked at surrogacy and the processes involved in bringing your child. We've looked at the ethical part, the moral bit. We've looked at why you must be interested in meeting the surrogate mother. We've looked at why you must be interested in ensuring that the contract that is drawn up reflects both your interest and that of the unborn child and the surrogate mother. We've also explained that if you want to do surrogacy, you must seek legal advice in the UK and in Ghana. The advantage that we have is that we've got a lawyer who is both UK and Ghanaian qualified and continues to be a UK and Ghanaian qualified. So he's able to give advice about Ghanaian law and also the English law. What we've also explained is that you need to be interested in the child's review, the pregnancy review, both ante and postnatal reviews. You also need to be involved in the decisions about who the surrogate mother is. You just don't pick anybody from the street. Might be somebody who's drug addict, has very bad medical past or emotional problems. Some of the emotional problems you don't see. You only see when the person is an adult and assessment is done. That is why it's always important to be involved. Surrogacy is a good thing. It solves a lot of problems for marital couples. It brings peace and joy to the home, but it has to be done ethically, morally right, and legally right. And the only way to do it is to seek legal advice. Kweku, this is what I leave the community with, and I hope that we'll have a fruitful week coming next week. Thank you very much.
And I'll pick a line from what Uncle Ben said. Surrogacy is a good thing. The community and the law is a good program. And I would want to invite you to come join us same time next week when we bring you another very interesting discussion from the stables of BWF Solicitors. On behalf of my producer, Professor Ade, Sheila Ankra and Padmo Dodu for the admin and aesthetics, and Cynthia, practice manager, BWF Solicitors, lawyer Eunice, and lawyer Charles Asma for your research and resources, and to the main man, Uncle Ben himself, for making time to come work with us, and to all the members of the BWF Solicitors family back home in Ghana, here in the UK. On behalf of everybody, we want to say thank you so very much. Those of you who watched with us live, God bless you. Come same time next week. We're going to invite others to come join us on the live program again. Those who have missed, what I would say is go back and watch the whole thing, because there's a lot for you to put in your repertoire. Thank you very much. My name is Oreku Frimpong. Have a good week.